On this channel, I like to ask questions. Not philosophical questions per se, but practical questions. For instance, what wholly impractical way am I going to try to beat this game for the 200th time? The answer? Use a gun. More specifically, this laser caliber tank tread maneuvered a little old number designed by Emma Curzero, I don't know if that's how it's pronounced, downloaded by me, and you best hope not pointed at you. I start my life the same way all engineers do, with crippling student loan debt. Not really, I didn't go to college, they didn't want me. My Sentry gun can be found in the nearby town of Prim, behind Lieutenant Hayes' tent, but it requires 80 in repair to repair. I presently have 52. It's not a problem though. 12 more repair comes courtesy of a man pretending to be a dog. Or perhaps he's a dog pretending to be a man. To get the other level, I go back to Goodsprings. Once upon a time, I believed that shooting bottles was okay, because they're not alive. But this time, right before I fired, one of them whispered to me, begging me not to. Despite my better judgment, I obliged. So instead, I grabbed a copy of Fixin' Things from the Prospector Saloon and a copy of Dean's Electronics from Sloan. Using both of those, I repaired the turret and tested it out. The turret can either be used in a way similar to a companion, or a special item can be equipped to open up a terminal and control it remotely. I tried it out remotely on the Powder Gangers and the Bison Steve. It's, let's call it clunky. The turret moves slow, turns slow, and has a frame rate of like fucking 2. And the controls are weird. Like, why are there 6 pedals when there's only 4 directions? Not to mention that sometimes it just doesn't fire. And other times, the monitor doesn't even pop up. At least there's a silver lining. Enemies don't target me while it's active. To be honest, the monitor not working might be a good thing too. I don't know what happened to me when I turned 19, a few years ago, but ever since I get crazy motion sick crazy easily. The low frame rate of the monitor was making me feel sick after like 5 minutes. I think that if it hadn't broken most of the time, I would have given up this run as soon as it started. Another interesting quirk is that kills made by the Sentry gun do not count as kills made by me. So if one were to, for example, want to kill members of a faction, it wouldn't be held against them. Though this also means that they, whoever they may be, wouldn't earn XP for any of those kills. I was curious how the turret would perform against Deathclaws, so I returned to Sloan and head to Quarry Junction to find out. It performs, for sure, but not exactly especially well, and not well enough for me to be comfortable sticking around for very long. I am comfortable enough to cut through the area on my way to Vegas, though, because I also found that if enemies are already aggroed to me when I activate the turret, they continue to be so. Although in the case of Deathclaws, this is still more than a little bit intimidating. But I make it through with only a few claw marks in me. Because of the previously mentioned fact that kills with the Sentry gun aren't held against me, I perform a no-strings-attached destruction of Camp McCarran. There wasn't any reason for it at all. In fact, I was already pretty sure I was going to side with the NCR. But fact of the matter is, I could, so I did. What other reason do you need to kill 30 people? Speaking of, once I'm on the strip, I clean out the monorail station and a bunch of Securitrons as well, followed by me entering the Ultralux and thinning out the population there. It was partially for fun and partially so that I could say that I've completed Feeble Will for the first time since 2015. I planned to obliterate the Omertas as well because it just felt fitting, but after gunning down the doorman, everyone else becomes hostile for some reason. They haven't any other time. But I guess that's okay. Unlike the Omertas, when I enter the tops and gun down Benny, nobody cares. Not even his Secret Service, but I kill them too. Fuck 'em. Now I enter the Lucky 38. Without talking to House, I open up his secret chambers and enter the control room. But my Sentry doesn't follow me. I assumed that it just couldn't enter this location. Only powerful beings such as NCR Operator can manage that feat. So I just disconnect House from his network and leave. Then I noticed that my turret was destroyed. Hey, that's okay though, because when this happens, you can fix it with scrap electronics. But, I must have left all mine in my other jacket. I collect a handful of parts from Lone Wolf Radio and Goodsprings, then return, but nothing happens. So I also assumed that I would have to get my repair back up to 80. I do so quite easily by bugging House's network for Emily, and I was right. That's good. I was just a tiny little bit scared that I had gotten myself soft-locked, but we're good. I leave it behind briefly though while I walk through some mortar strike to get to the boomers. After I bring it back with me, I go to the generator room with the intention of killing the ants. Unfortunately, the Sentry has a really difficult time maneuvering here, and the terminal came back to make me a little motion sick, so I decided that wasn't happening. So instead I repaired the solar panels and then, for whatever reason, pull out the control device and kill Pearl, and some other boomers, and Loyal, and everyone in the mess hall, although they kind of blew themselves up a bit too. I was scared at the prospect of my robot taking a dip in Lake Mead, because it would short circuit. But that doesn't make any sense. That doesn't happen in this game. I know that that doesn't happen in this game, so I don't know what I was doing. Regardless, they're all dead, and I move on, through Fiend territory no less. Something I've observed is that when you're in combat, the Sentry automatically locks onto enemies even when it's not facing them, which is great and powerful. When you're not in combat though, it just kind of sprays forward in an allegedly random spread. I think the laser beams are kind of just an illusion though, because it feels at least a little more accurate than it looks. Although you know what they say, if you give a group of chimpanzees infinite ammo, they're bound to kill each other eventually. I go from there back to Quarry Junction, because I feel really, really determined to kill all those Deathclaws now that I'm slightly more familiar with the Sentry. So like before, I rage bait them into running at me, then whip out the control device on my hip. Legally, they cannot attack me while I have it out, so I can simply pick them off while bureaucracy and yellow tape prevent them from stopping it. I turn a bounty of a single egg over to Jazz, to receive an omelet, and then return to Goodsprings, because I have unfinished business. Those bottles thought they got away with it, that they were safe. They're not. I line them up, aim my Sentry at them, and fire! But my lasers go right through. Those fucking bottles lied to me. They're not alive at all. They're ghosts. And ghosts are already dead, which means that killing them is not morally incorrect. When I leave town, NCR operator comes running up to me. I mentioned this again because I wanted to let you know that he brought his fists to a gunfight and won. My god, he is so magnificent. Now I go over to Red Rock Canyon, but I don't start dealing with the cons just yet. We was talking, that's all, just keep that in mind. And then I go to Freeside and pay a visit to the Kings, by which I mean my turret starts massacring them, simply because I was curious if doing this would count as killing Pacer with an energy weapon to frame the Van Graffs. Unfortunately when I check with Crocker, it's not the case. I kind of assumed so, since it's not really an energy weapon so much as, I assume, an inanimate death ray of sorts. Although on the contrary, Private Bitch scolds me for using it to shoot at the memorial in Boulder City, so who knows. After being assigned to resolve matters with the cons, I detour to Forlorn Hope. All of the important individuals, so the quartermaster, the head guy, the tech freak, and the gay doctor are killed. And I now return to Red Rock, foolishly believing that Papa Khan would now name me as his successor. But he doesn't. I don't get it. I don't. That's supposed to work, but it hasn't either time I've tried. I kill him anyway, and Regis agrees to an alliance before his body even fully hits the ground. Now, the Brotherhood of Steel. I had the great idea to just start shooting the guy who meets you at the door and seeing what would happen. Like with most other people, nobody recognizes his death, allowing me to kill the other guards and enter the bunker. Ramos is standing downstairs like normal, and activates the dialogue for if I had done this normally, taking me to McNamara. Oddly, this dialogue also removes all of my items, the way that the guy at the door is supposed to. I find it strange that this failsafe of removing your stuff exists at all. I guess hypothetically it's because you could stealth kill the guy at the door without using the Sentry, but it feels like such a niche choice to account for. Once I'm uncollared, I slowly and methodically use my sentry gun to kill every last person in the bunker. None of them ever know what hit them. If they did, they had really slow reaction times, because they just sat there and let it happen instead of fighting back. I cap off my slaughter with Ramos because it's a little funny for me that the so-called head of security doesn't know that he's the only one alive. Except, like that other time, I go to Knight Torres and cast Revivify on her to bring her back. Maybe someday I'll explain that joke to you properly. It actually is pretty funny with context. Okay, back to the dam. I prepare for the president to arrive to give his speech. But right as he starts flying in, I prepare an ambush and shoot him the second he arrives downstairs. That was easy. Nobody cared either. I guess that's what happens when you spend your whole term making life worse for your people. Nobody mourns you when you die except for the people stupid enough to keep falling for your lies. Anyway, now let's start the second battle of Hoover Dam. If this has all felt really fast to you, that's because it was fast for me too. This playthrough was only about 5.5 hours long instead of the usual 10 to 14. But look, the Dead Island 2 video was about 35 hours. I needed something more bite-sized to follow it up with, okay? Believe it or not, that's nowhere near the longest recording I've done though. The two Cyberpunk videos were a combined 40 to 45-ish, but the longest is a video that has not come out yet. I recorded it between July 9th and September 27th of 2024, and it was approximately 140 hours. Ideally, someday this project will see the light of day. It's been in development hell for the past 2 years, during which that's all just been sitting there eating a whole 30% of my hard drive space. Back to talking about the current game, this is no contest at all, the easiest battle of Hoover Dam I've partaken in. Enemies can't target me, and I have a nearly unkillable death machine that locks onto them even when it's not looking remotely close to them. It was so brain-dead easy that part of me wanted to open up my phone and play that stupid, shitty mobile game I sold my soul to. The only reason I didn't was because, like I said a while ago, sometimes the Sentry doesn't actually fire, and I had to keep an eye open for that so that I could reset it. It has to fire on its own as a companion before you're able to shoot it again when that happens. I had hoped that I would be able to kill the Legate without him knowing what hit him, but once I drained him to about half his health, he ran at me and initiated dialogue. This caused me to have not the best angle on him and his guards as I ruthlessly slaughtered them all. Still though, it feels good to be a winner every now and then. So I pack up my Sentry, talk to Oliver one last time, come out, and beat Fallout New Vegas. You know what? Just like the last time I used a remote control vehicle, I don't actually know what I'm gonna name this video yet. Okay, I'm gonna go level up my fucking Sentry gun 3 to 4. When you're at 4, you can drive it around and just... but that's only when you're wielding a Wrangler though. Talk about Sentry guns. When I think about you, pass...